now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. One of my viewers on Instagram wanted me to talk about the ongoing dysfunction in parts of the black comic book community, the black fantasy community, the black sci-fi community, the black manga community, and the black anime community regarding your hand-me-down heroes. Now, your hand-me-down heroes are token versions of originally white characters, and these token versions of originally white characters are designed to be the black version of a said character. And examples of these hand-me-down heroes include your Miles Morales Spider-Man, your Tim Fox Batman, or your Javicia Leslie Batwoman, or in the case of The Little Mermaid, the upcoming Black Little Mermaid. And these characters are just there based on the color of their skin, and they're not there based on the content of their character. So the character is just basically rehashing the white character's story and not having a story of their own in some cases, or in other cases, these guys just put on another person's costume and they go out here and play like they are the original hero, but they aren't the original hero because they did not earn their story based on the merits of their actions. So these hand-me-down heroes are basically there to passively fill a quota for diversity, but aggressively they are used to deny other black creators access to the comic book market, the sci-fi market, the fantasy market, and the anime market. And what's really troubling about the hand-me-down heroes is the reaction that some fans go out here and have regarding them. Now, some of these black comic book fans, black sci-fi fans, black fantasy fans, and black manga fans and black anime fans, they go out here and make excuses whenever someone like myself or Young Rippa or many others call out these hand-me-down token characters. And the excuses they make for these corporations' token characters is to say that a person is a hater for calling out these kinds of characters. But there is no jealousy among those like myself who call it out, because we know better than to settle for less. And that's one of the big problems with some in the black comic book community, the black sci-fi community, and the black fantasy and manga and anime community, is that they have such low self-esteem that they make excuses saying something is better than nothing. And that's an insult to you as a black comic fan, a black sci-fi fan, a black fantasy fan, and a black manga fan. And the reason why it's an insult is because in many cases at companies like Marvel and DC, they already have a lot of African American characters readily available for any creator to go out here and use. Like, for example, in the case of your Tim Fox Batman, they already had a character called the Signal they could have already used, or they could have used the Leonard Duke Robin, and there were other DC characters in the DC universe they could have easily pushed in the DC universe because they have a whole catalog of great characters like Mr. Terrific, who could easily be used because he's on the same level as Batman. He's just as wealthy. He has the same type of athletic ability, and he's an inventor. But some of these black comic fans, all they want to do is see Batman in a black skin and not really thinking about the substance of what's being pushed. And that's one of the things that frustrates many comic fans like myself, as related to the something is better than nothing argument, is there are a whole host of characters in the catalog that can be used at companies like DC and Marvel, but many of those characters get ignored because many of these publishers cannot go out here and virtue signal by saying, oh, we're making a black Batman, oh, we're making a black Superman, oh, we're making a black Wonder Woman. But meanwhile, characters like Steel, Nubia, and the Signal, and even Orpheus wind up on the shelf, not being used and not being pushed to the forefront to give us actual diversity. And what's really, again, troubling is we have this group of black comic fans, black sci-fi fans, and black fantasy fans who basically will settle for less, and because they settle for less, we as comic fans don't really get really good quality. Same thing with manga, anime, fantasy, and science fiction. There are so many great stories out there that could be pushed at these companies, but they don't want to push those characters. No, they want to push token diversity characters, and that really hurts the whole thing as related to black comics, black fantasy, black science fiction, and black anime, because all of those great characters at Marvel and DC don't get attention. Moreover, many of these same types who talk about, oh, somebody's a hater and something is better than nothing, many of these same people won't go out here and try to promote any of the black characters from independent creators like myself at SJS Direct, or other publishers like Concrete Comics. And if you're a true fan of black characters, you're going to go out here and support many of those independent characters. But some of the people in this group, it seems like they're more about white validation than they are about trying to get good quality stories in the hands of readers. And that's one of the big problems that is related to this small group of dysfunctional black comic fans, black fantasy fans, black sci-fi fans, black manga fans, and black anime fans, is that they are in the hobby not because they love the characters. No, they are in the hobby because they want white validation and white approval. And because they want white validation and white approval, they are willing to stand behind these token minority characters, and they are willing to try to stand behind them because they have a covert contract where they believe if they stand behind the characters and defend them, that these white comic fans and white sci-fi fans and white fantasy and manga and anime fans will accept them into their great melting pot. That is the main reason why they go out here and make these defenses of these kinds of characters, not understanding the damage it does to the hobby for all of the people trying to diversify the black comic book, black sci-fi, black fantasy, and black anime and manga markets. Creators like myself, we want to diversify that space so that you can get a diversity of thought, so that you can see that the black experience is far more than what many of these token characters are, because many of these token characters, they don't come from a black perspective, they don't come from the black experience, and they don't come from black creators. No, in most cases, many of these token characters, like your Miles Morales and many others, they are the creations of white creators, and it's just a white person's idea of what black is, and usually that's more flash than substance. And that when these guys make these token characters, again, it keeps us from getting a diversity of thought, and even worse, it keeps other black creators like myself from being able to step onto a platform, because passively what companies like Marvel and DC and even some of the other fantasy publishers and manga and sci-fi publishers do is they'll say, oh, we have a black character, and that's an excuse not to go out here and hire a black writer. And not hiring that talented black writer like myself or many others out here, what that does is it prevents many companies from having that diversity of thought, and it prevents them from being able to feature a rich, diverse experience as related to the black experience, because there's more to the black experience than what we see in a Miles Morales comic, or in the case of your Tim Fox Batman, or even in the worst cases like the whole Javicia Leslie Batwoman. I mean, that Ryan Wilder character was basically a racist stereotype about black women, and if you had a good writer come in, they would give you a richer picture and give you a Batwoman who just doesn't live in a van down by the river. No, they would give you an educated professional sister who had finances on the level of Bruce Wayne, because in reality, your average American black woman is supposed to be the most educated woman in the world, and she's supposed to be part of a burgeoning middle class. But your Warner Brothers goes out here and for Batwoman Season 2 gives us token black Batwoman and breathes brand new life into old stereotypes. And the excuse that some of these people in the comic book, fantasy, sci-fi, manga, and anime world is to say at least that actor was given an opportunity, but that's not really an opportunity actually, because this actor was not given a full character to work with. No, she was given a stereotype, and that stereotype did not allow her to develop into a rich, multidimensional character, and that's why Batwoman Season 2 was absolutely hot garbage. But because we've got a lot of black comic fans, black sci-fi fans, black fantasy fans, and black manga and anime fans who are desperate for white validation and approval due to their low self-esteem, they will sit there and make excuses because they want to be a part of a group just to get approval, but they don't understand there's a difference between like and respect. And when you sit there and like substandard characters and accept substandard characters in order to be part of a social circle, then people don't go out here and respect you. And that's one of the problems I have seen as related to your black comic fans, your black sci-fi fans, your black anime fans, and your black manga and fans, is that they don't understand the concept of respect. Because as a lifelong comic fan, ever since I was 4 years old, I understand that the most important thing about being a fan is getting respect from other fans, because I shouldn't have to compromise my dignity in order to like a certain character, and I shouldn't have to compromise my dignity and self-respect just because I want to fit in with a group of people. That is so 7th grade, junior high school. And what's sad is we have a lot of comic book, sci-fi, fantasy, and manga and anime fans who are still trying to fit in like a bunch of 12-year-olds in junior high school. And they're willing to go out here and compromise their dignity and self-respect to be accepted by white comic fans. But there are some things nobody should sit up here and accept. And again, there's just too many great black creators out here that you should be supporting. I mean, if you really like black comic, black sci-fi, black fantasy, black manga, and black anime, then I say you should go out here and support all of those great black creators out here who are doing great work, like Concrete Comics, like Black Sands, and many others who are putting together fantastic work and creating stories in our own image and talking about our experiences and giving you a richer picture of our culture. That's something I do on the SJS Direct imprint on books like the Isis series, the Eaststein series, the John Haynes series, and books like the Spinsterella trilogy. I try to give people a richer picture of the black experience, and I don't do this to get white validation or approval. And I have many white and foreign readers who pick up books all across the globe, and they respect me because I go out here and I represent blackness, and I am not ashamed to represent blackness because I understand that I don't need to accept some white characters' hand-me-downs when I can go out here and craft something and tailor something that is fitting to us as a people and presents our culture in a way that gives you that richer experience. I mean, why should anybody settle for hand-me-down heroes when you can have something original and tailored to you? That's the critical question I would like to ask many of these self-hating black comic fans, black sci-fi fans, and black manga and anime fans. Why should you settle for some white person's substandard when you can make something up to your own standard and tell a story that tells the truth about you? I mean, why should many black girls sit up here and watch a black Little Mermaid when they can go out here and pick up my Eastine the Sands of Time, which features a black princess set in ancient Egypt? Why should you go out here and be the black version of a Dutch story when you can go out here and be the black princess in a black story? And this is the story that I wrote, tailored to black actors and written to feature black culture, and shows that yes, we can go out here and have our own black princesses. That was one of the reasons why I did Sands of Time, because I saw what they were doing with that hand-me-down even before the hand-me-down Little Mermaid. I wrote that story back in 2018 before they even announced that Little Mermaid, because I saw what they did with that Princess Tiana, where they practically dehumanized that character for 3/4 of the movie, and that absolutely disgusted me, and that made me get to my fingers to the keyboard and say, I'm going to show you that yes, we can go out here and make a black princess movie, and we can make a black princess movie where the princess can be human for 100% of the movie, and we can go out here and make the same kind of story that Disney refuses to make, and we can go out here and make that kind of story. And that's why we don't need hand-me-downs, because again, if you've got black creators like myself crafting stories, then we don't need any white hand-me-down characters to find acceptance and approval, because we will see the value in ourselves. And when we see the value in ourselves, that then we can go out here and get the respect we're looking for. And that's what the big problem is with many of those who talk, when you call them out, then say, as related to these hand-me-down characters, and they say, oh, you're a hater, something is better than nothing. These people have low self-esteem, and they don't understand you can't settle for less, because when you settle for less, you get what happened to John Diggle in Arrow. I mean, your John Diggle in Arrow, I consider that to be one of the most embarrassing moments for a black man in history. Here you had John Diggle, a man on the same level as Oliver Queen, and was given this hand-me-down costume as the Green Arrow. Then they present him as a bumbling, stumbling hero, and then after this, he goes out here, sacrifices his dignity by begging Oliver Queen, saying, can I please have the Green Arrow costume back? And then Oliver Queen tells him, being the Green Arrow allows me to be the best me I can be. And that was the ultimate middle finger thrown up at John Diggle. And that's what I call it, the Diggle moment, because it's basically a black man realizing that he's getting no respect from his white boss. And that was embarrassing to watch. And this is what I see happening in real life with a lot of the black comic fans, the black manga fans, the black sci-fi fans, and the black fantasy fans, is like John Diggle, you're putting yourself in a secondary position, sacrificing your dignity and your self-respect, and not seeing your value as a comic fan, and not demanding better from these companies, and going out here and showing the value of your dollar by going out here and doing what I do out here every day, going out here spending money with black comic creators, whether they be guys like Raymond Leonard, who creates the fantastic Agent Solo series, or companies like Concrete Comics, or companies like Black Sands. I invest my dollars in black comic companies so that many of these companies can go on to produce images that look like me and go out here and help a lot of young brothers and sisters see their value as people and see that there are stories that feature people like them in the comic book world, and they don't have to settle for being a token in somebody else's universe. They can be someone in their own world. Now, this video was requested by one of my viewers on Instagram, but if you are on social media and you want to request a video, you can do that by donating to the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my positive black fantasy fiction featuring strong images of black men and women that will inspire and uplift you and your children, you can pick up those books in the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Hay series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available on Kindle, E-Steam No Good Deed. The Devilish Diva scares some stick-up kids straight in this action-packed E-Steam series comic. Get E-Steam No Good Deed on Kindle for 99 cents today.